Hello everyone, welcome to the show Speak with GRV. I am the host of the show, Gaurav Singh. Speak with GRV is a platform where we tell you inspiring stories of people from all walks of life. The idea is, even if one person gets inspired from these stories and goes on to make big in his or her life, our job would be done. Talking about today's guest, well, she's someone really special, and it was an absolute privilege and honor to be hosting her. So, introducing today's guest. So, today on Speak with GRV, we have ex Indian Air Force officer, Squadron Leader Sumedha Chopra. Ma'am had a glorious career of 10 plus years with Indian Air Force as a short service commission officer, after which she decided to move to the corporate. She has done her business management course from the top institute of the country, IIM-Ahmedabad. And after completing that, she had several job offers in her hand but decided to join UBS, which is a top investment bank, as an associate director. Apart from this, she is also the founding ambassador of a CSR activity called #Support Saturdays. The idea is to help professionals get jobs. And there are a lot of things that we are going to discuss apart from these during the course of this interview. So here is Speak with GRV in conversation with Sumedha Chopra. So hello everyone, welcome to our show Speak with GRV. So we have already shown you the introduction of Sumedha Chopra ma'am, and she's a very special guest that we have with us today. She's an ex-Indian Air Force officer, and then she moved on to corporate and is currently the associate director of UBS. She's also associated with a CSR activity called as Support Saturdays, and there are a lot of things that we are going to talk about during the course of interview. So first of all, thank you so much, ma'am, for coming, and it's a pleasure to actually host you.
Thank you so much for having me over, Gaurav. I'm looking forward to this talk.
Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, we'll start the interview. So, my first question would be: you come from a city called Barnala from Punjab. You did your engineering in IT, and then you got into Indian Air Force in your very first attempt. So, tell us about that journey, your college days, and how you come to learn about Indian Air Force.
So there's a very interesting story, so to speak, because when I was doing my engineering, though when I went out for engineering, there were very few people, let alone girls who were going out to study from my own town. So I would, give that to my parents that they always supported, and I will always, thank them for setting those first things in my life, wherein they never stopped me, and that set the base for whom I am today. So when I was in engineering college, I was part of my placement committee for my batch, and that is how I learned that there is some entry called military entry scheme, university entry scheme only for the guys. So it happens in the third year of your engineering. And, till then in my life, maybe I was 18 or 19. And I thought that till now, even at home or in college or in school, I had equal opportunity with the male counterparts with whom I was studying, and that is the time it kind of gave me a nudge that why only, though that entry is okay only for boys, but then I was like, why it is not for, what are the opportunities that I have? Though I was, as an engineer, I was going for other placement drives, and but that was something, the seed was sown that day that I wanted to learn more about it. The internet was not that savvy that it is today, if we see. So then I tried to find out that what are the options that I can also join and I can try it out. So that's how it all started. And uh, in my fourth year of engineering, I gave the exams, went for SSB, then the medicals, then the merit list, and rest is just history. June 2009, and completed my engineering. In July, I was at Air Force Academy. So that was how it started, and it happened because I felt so driven about joining the forces, that why there is no opportunity, and it is something which attracts you, and you would like to at least me, I wanted to know my own potential, whether I can be there or not.
Yeah, ma'am, actually, that's really, really interesting. And ma'am, you cleared SSB in your very first attempt. And what happens normally with people is if they get recommended, they might get medical out. If they clear
Yeah,
medical also, they get out in the merit list. And especially when
yeah.
it comes to Indian Air Force, because it's very tight competition. So how was that feeling of clearing it in your one go and then informing your family that, I'll be an officer? And I think you were the first officer in your family. Uh,
Yeah.
so how was
In
that
my
experience?
family, in my town, in my district, to be honest, because I hail from a very small place. I was the first one in the officer cadre from there. So, yeah, I mean, it's a lifetime experience, to be honest. I didn't know that whether I will be able to do it, till the time I did it. Actually, in the first go, as you mentioned, there are different steps, there can be anything go wrong,
Yeah.
maybe in your personality or the medical issue, which you're not even aware of. People do get medically boarded out also, and it's a long journey. So I guess I just kept going for one step ahead, and I was myself not very, I didn't know that what's going to happen next, because you always give the exams or the interviews, then you wait for the results. I consider myself lucky, to be honest, that I could do it in the first go. But if I come back to the experience that I had in my SSB, I went to Dehradun, and
Okay.
it was a lifetime experience. First, there were no phones for 7 days. You are in a, in the campus, in the FO selection board. You are meeting new people. It was a huge batch of some 120 plus women, all across the, coming from different parts of the country. And the there's a first day, there is a screening out. Then you have the 6 days of interview. I just, to be honest, what I did was whatever was asked from me, that you don't have to keep the phone. You have to eat at so and so time. This is what you are supposed to be doing in different parts of the interview process. That okay, this is the PADGD kind of a thing. That is a passive air defense
Yeah.
and ground defense, when you have to help your people around, because there is no right or wrong what they are judging.
Exactly.
They are trying to judge you on a lot of aspects which you're not aware. That's why the whole interview process is so extensive, and it goes over for 6 to 7 days. And then there are there are last day there is a conference. There's a interview which goes on for more than an hour to understand and unfold your personality. But I remember the day the results were coming for the day I was standing with all the other girls, the day whether I have passed the SSB or not, the last day when I that was announced, I just had one very strong feeling, which I still carry with me, that if I'm apt for it, if I'm up, I'm the right candidate or right person who can be in defense, then I'm clearing this today. And this is who I am, whatever 6 7 days, whatever I have shown, whatever I have performed, whether in outdoors or in the written exams, that this is me. If I'm really suitable, I'll make it. If not, then I'm not coming back again, because I cannot offer anything more than this. I was at least that confident that this is it. It's not that I'm going to try for it again, because there's nothing more I can add to it. But as luck could have it, that was the feeling. And after 15 minutes, maybe the results were announced, and the rest is just history. And I'm really happy that I could make it, and had the opportunity to serve the nation.
Maybe that confidence was the reason you got into Air Force in the first go. So I remember I have been to AFSB Mysore. One of the candidate who was with me, so he was asked, so what did you like about the whole experience in conference? And he said that I did not get to use my phone. That was the best part. Because you're
Yeah, because
completely cut off. You live in
yeah,
that disciplined environment for 5 days, and it's a wonderful experience. Whether you get into the
it is.
forces, that's a different question. But that 5 day experience is really amazing.
Because nowadays we are so attached to our phones that
Yeah.
if I ask you that you keep it away for one day, you will not be able to do that. But
Okay.
there you're put under a situation where you can, and you think that you can survive. I mean, you realize that.
So, ma'am, I'll tell you one incident on this. So, in my previous interview, I had spoken with Vivek Atre sir, who is an ex-IAS officer. So he says, so in Gurugram, there are two places where people live. One is Gurugram, second is Instagram. because they,
Interesting.
so much of social media is there. So, ma'am, with this,
Yeah.
coming to my next question. Now, ma'am, as you have mentioned in your previous interviews also, that when you got recommended, there were some other girls also who recommended in that batch, but some of them were not allowed by their family to actually join the forces.
Yeah.
So, how do
Yeah.
you see how important is family support when it comes to letting your child go into defense forces, especially a girl child? And how is this mentality changing now, especially from the city you come from?
Mhm. So I still remember because see there was a batch of, like I said, 120 plus, and only maybe 10 or 11 people made it, right? After they cleared the SSB. So we all of course knew each other, and we went for the medicals together, which was just a day or 2 days later than the SSB. So I categorically remember that was first instance when I realized that there can be hurdles like that also, to be honest. Maybe because till then I didn't face it in my life. My father was the one who said, no, you will not study here, go out, give the exams, at least till for engineering. And he was always enthused about it, that I should be studying outside, or because, not because just to step away from the city, but to have better education facilities wherever it's possible. So I never, and when I told my parents that this is, they were not even aware that I'm going for the first written exam. When I cleared
Okay.
that is the time I told them that I have to go for SSB, and my father said, okay, I'll drive you to Dehradun. So at least I had that liberty, and it was a learning for me as well, that this is still happening. Maybe it didn't happen to me. I was lucky that my parents supported me, but when I learned that uh, one of the girls, she's not coming after clearing, which is it is an achievement in itself.
Right.
So because the parents are not allowing, maybe I really don't know what was their mindset at that point in time. Maybe they didn't want to send their daughter away from them, or to a place where fear of unknown, to be honest.
Yes.
What is exactly their mindset, I don't know, but then it is very, very important. And later on I realized, I came to know when I came back home after first 6 months of training at AFA, that there were people who asked my father that how could you send your daughter,
Oh,
it is such a risky place, because people relate to risk. But thankfully my
exactly.
father also carries a mindset. He said, if you're talking about the risk that people die on their bed, people die on car, people die while walking. So whenever we
Exactly.
have to die, we will die. But then if she has made it, and there was never a question after I cleared anything, or I personally never had to struggle with that, whether I'm going or not. There was no question asked, or there was not even single time a discussion in my family whether I'm going for it or not. Rather, they were all very proud of it, and they were very happy about it. So, and maybe another reason could be because the charm that defense
Yes,
forces
ma'am.
carry, and also there was nobody in the family. uh, so, but for others, I would say whatever is the reason, I still feel that that girl should be proud today as well, because she was the one who cleared it. Maybe because of some other reasons, because of she wanted to listen to her family or whatever, because that age is very tender.
Yes,
If your parents decision is very important to you, whatever you're doing, you need their support. It
exactly.
Of course, today what I am, maybe I can take my own decisions, but I still want them to be involved. But as a much younger age, when you're deciding your college, your higher studies, or you definitely need that support from your parents, because they are the people you look up to. They are the people maybe who are going to fund your education also, or the other people who are the main uh, people in your life who are the decision makers, or who can influence your decision. So I would say, of course, I am not saying that it is wrong or right. Maybe they have their own reasons. But
Right.
it is not only I felt this for defense. Maybe there are other places also where girls are not allowed from their society or the first family to go and try out a lot of things. So definitely, whatever you become, maybe you can turn out and say no to your family, or start taking your own decisions after a certain age, or after certain tries, when you feel very confident about that.
Right.
I want to try this, whether my parents are with me or not doesn't matter, but it doesn't happen in the first go. So there are
Exactly.
bit of tries and errors, I would say. So yes, I can't comment or change anyone's mentality, but I would still say that if your daughters are capable of doing and stepping outside, we should not be stopping them.
And
That's
we
what I
and
feel.
yes, ma'am. And ma'am, we really hope that people who are listening to this, they actually encourage their children to actually go out and let them explore the field they want. So how did the
Yeah.
scenario change in your family once you became an officer? So there must be people looking up to you, okay, how she did it, coming to ask you how you prepared, how you cleared. We also want
Yeah.
to get into the forces because it happens normally. One person
Yeah.
breaks the chain and people follow. So how was that thing?
Oh, that was wonderful. I mean, I never thought that I did something really amazing. Because for me, it was one thing, because and especially when you are in the academy and there are more people around you who are like you don't feel that you are, somebody different. But when you come back home and you
Exactly.
look at people, even it was covered in the media, that is how I got to know that I'm the first one. I didn't know it till then because, okay, I mean, the social media was not that much there, and I didn't know all those facts. I realized it only when I was interviewed by a lot of local newspapers, and I was called to the local colleges, especially the girls school and colleges, to speak to the girls how they can make it, and why they should try for things, not only forge but things when you want to
Exactly.
come out of your comfort zone. So
Yes.
yeah, in a way, that career counseling kept happening with the relatives, with the known people from dad's circle or anyone, but that was a good experience, I would say. Probably that is what I'm doing right now also, that if I have got
Yes.
something, I should be able to share it to larger audience, so that if even if you can take just one thing out of it about the whole thing, then
Exactly.
I have done my job, to be honest.
Yeah, ma'am. Personally, I'll say I've seen your LinkedIn is on days it's completely filled with you're doing that support Saturday, so uploading people's resume. So that's a wonderful gesture. We'll actually come to that question. So, ma'am, now moving, then you got into Indian Air Force. Now, seeing Indian Air Force on TV, on YouTube, how the training is a different thing, and actually doing it is a different thing. So, how was that experience of training? How did it change you as a person?
Oh, well, I'm a very different person, I would say. I can't relate to my own self what I was before. Uh, See, during the training, there's a lot of physical training, and what you see on the surface, that
Yeah.
if the whole day you're running or you're doing something, there are different activities planned. You hardly get to sleep. Uh, it is very disciplined. There is time for everything. You just get sometimes just 5 minutes to eat the food, and that too in a particular way. The cutlery, how to use it, not to make noise or whatever. Everything there is an instruction. Even if you can call home after a week, it is only for 3 minutes because others also have to call. So for
Okay.
every simplest of the thing has instructions. So how it has changed me, I would say, on the surface, why I said that physical training is on the surface, because definitely it makes you physically strong, but at the background, it is making you more mentally strong. There
Yeah.
was a lot of things which I explored about myself, which I was never put into such situations, maybe, running the whole day or whatever the tasks were. I never tried to come out of my comfort zone on my own, or I was not aware of my own capabilities. Maybe the physical strength, if I say, but then that changes your mindset, that it is not only the physical thing, it is preparing you for life, to be
Yeah.
honest, that there will be uncertainties, there will be challenges, but your outlook and the way you approach those things changes as a person, because you feel the kind of trainings or the twist they put, no, the training is very elaborate and very extensive and well thought of. There are changes which keeps happening, but then you don't realize that what is being changed, because you are doing, you're not given time, you're not given that much opportunity to think. You are just doing as directed, to be
Yeah.
honest. You don't get that feeling, if I'm, why somebody is giving me those instructions, why should I listen? No, you don't have that bandwidth to think, because that's a requirement of defense forces. That is how the personality changes over that year, or 1.5 years when you are under training. So I would say it has prepared me not only for defense or the defense challenges, but for the challenges of life, that just take on. There will be uncertainties, but you will
Yeah.
come out strong.
Were there any part or moments in the training when you felt it's getting too hard actually? And
If I really recall, there might be, because the kind of physical training or the uh, things they put you under, initially you're not used to it, and you will
exactly.
make mistakes. But if I look back, because there is a huge batch, you have your course mates. The bond that the course mates have is very different. So the motivation comes from, because if you are doing some certain activity, your course mate is also doing it. So what they do is, if one of you make mistake, everybody will
Exactly.
get the punishment. They call it punishment. The punishments are always some physical activity. Either
Right.
you'll be rolling, or you'll be running, or you'll be doing a sprint, or changing into different rigs. So they prepare you well. So I would say there were challenges, but it becomes very much easier. And when you look back, you just cherish those days, because the strength is with the whole people who are around you, and you don't feel alone, because everyone else is also struggling. You are uh, that bond becomes more stronger, because your seniors will definitely understand what you're going through, because they have already done it, but they will
Yeah.
not show that they are understanding or they are listening to you.
Hmm.
Why? Because they let you evolve as the course mates, and let that bond grow, because then you are holding your course mate's hand and telling, okay, I'm there for you. We are also,
Exactly.
we understand you much better, or we understand each other much better. Why? Because we are all going through the same thing, and we all have our own challenges. And second,
Exactly.
because there is no much time to think, trust me,
Mhm.
I never felt that it is getting difficult. I was like, neither I was waiting for it to get over. I was just flowing, and it was a wonderful experience.
So, ma'am, when you go through such a rigorous training and finally the day comes of your passing out ceremony, so how is that experience? Wearing the uniform, you become a flying officer. How is that part?
Out of the world. Because till now, it is only your seniors and your instructors, who are in the academy or the campus, with whom you are doing everything, who are guiding you, training you better in each and every aspect that the forge desires. uh, and the last day, when you have to pass out, the sanctity is maintained. Like, we have the last parade, when you have the whole parade going on for an hour or so, there is something called as Antim Pad. So that
Yeah.
is when you walk that. That is when you are, you are commissioned.
Yeah.
So the sanctity is maintained, that we never cross that particular area during our whole training for year or year and a half. We never cross that, because we know that it is to be done on the last day, when we have really earned it. We have really, passed out all the exams and all the physical trainings also, because there's always an exam for everything. There is a criteria that you have to meet.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. And another thing is, because that day your parents are there, who are not with you, who are not talking to you, because you are in training. You can't really, on very few occasions you are speaking to them. They don't know what their child is exactly doing, because uh, there's not that much of communication. You don't have that time, to be honest. So when and then you look into their eyes, the proud feeling your parents have. It's not only your parents, because even your course mates' parents, you become
Yeah.
like a family. They
Exactly.
come at least 2-3 days prior. So it's a out of the world feeling, and it feels like, oh, it is done. And then there's a feeling that you will not be with your course mates. This life is changing, because that has become a routine for such a long time, that you've been together. That becomes your family. So there's a bit of mixed feelings, I would say, but
Yeah.
the proud and the pride that your parents have in you, that overshadows everything, and it is really wonderful. I
As,
can still
yeah.
remember it scene by scene, that what happened.
Yeah, and as they say, there are some things which can only be earned in life, and becoming an officer, passing through that Antim Pag is actually
Yeah,
one of them. So, ma'am, then
absolutely.
when you say so, 1 to 1.5 year back, you were Sumedha Chopra, then you become flying officer Sumedha Chopra, and you get
Yeah.
your first posting. So, tell us about that experience. How did that happen? What was your first posting basically?
So I went to Ambala, Air Force Station Ambala. It's a huge base. It was very important base during our previous wars as well. First, posting is always closer to you. The training and posting are very different. The training just prepares you that whatever comes, you have to take it. So the training also, because I'm an engineer, so and the technical, all people who are into the technical branch in Air Force, they are then trained after the military training. They are trained on a specific, either radars or communications or the aircraft. So there is specialization which you go through. Even that is for 6 months or 8 months, depending on what you are getting. So I was trained on ground communications, and then the posting, of course, I was supposed to look after the ground communications there. The theoretical or a little bit of practical training was given, but when you really reach the base, there are different challenges, because you uh, the communications also make part of the operation side. Why? Because everything is to support flying, and there are very few
Right.
people who are actually flying, but there 95% of the people are supporting flying in every way, because that's the aim of the organization. So I'm really lucky that I was posted to such a big base, a fighter base, and because it gives you much more exposure. You're more closer to the operations and what is the ask, how important you are.
Yes.
Maybe you might not understand the let me give you one simple example. So there is a runway, an aircraft is landing, and the
Yes, ma'am.
nearest phone is there. If that is not working, I have some maybe hundreds of phones in that base, and that phone is not working. To an employee, it might seem that even if my 90% of the things are in functional state, I'm at a very good place in
Right.
maintaining my assets. But which are those assets you want to maintain? I saw it on my with my own eyes, that because Ambala, shoots up, the temperature shoots up really high on during the summers. So after landing, when the aircraft is coming, the the tire catches fire. And though
Okay.
there will be Motorola's, or they will, but that's the only phone nearby where you have to call the time. Every second is important, right?
Right.
So you have to, somebody will make a call to the fire section to come and do the needful, and in at the same time you have to retrieve the, because it's still taxing in, you have to retrieve the pilot also. You have to save your pilot, you have to save your aircraft as well, and any damage that you can control nearby. So it is not, I'm not saying that which job is important or not, but to understand, I'm just giving you one odd example, but to understand that where you are going and how anything that you have to do can lead to a catastrophe, that is what you need to understand. So I would say getting posted to a big base was definitely an eye opener, because there's more action, to be honest. You're more on your toes, there's more requirement, but it really teaches you a lot. So Ambala will always be very close to me.
Yes, ma'am. And ma'am, being a young officer, you have, since you had become an officer in your very first attempt, so you did not have the experience of leading people. But when you come in as an officer, there are people who are, let's say, older than you, who are much experienced than you. Maybe the rank is less in the order, but they are much more age in experience. So how did you, prepare yourself for handling them, and how was that part?
I guess that's a journey in itself. Of course, as a young officer, you have people in where personal below officer ranks, who are much older to you, who have kids of your age sometimes,
Yeah.
and the kind of society we are in, it is not only a young person, and it is even more challenging to take sometimes instructions from a lady.
Yeah.
And because you are, and first you think that I've been in this system since so long, nobody will say it out loud, but subconsciously or unconsciously those biases are there. And I would say, for me, it's a journey. First of the thing, I myself, acknowledge this fact, because I'm part of the same society. Till the time you don't acknowledge things, you can't address them, if you are in a denial mode. So I acknowledge that. I knew that this is going to happen. And with any team, wherever you go, whether in corporate or anywhere, something comes naturally, of course, because of your rank and designation and the duties that you are assigned. But something you have to earn. You have to build it over time, over and over again, day in, day out. You have to really, I'm not saying you have to put up a face or a facade, but then you have to really, it has to come from your heart, and you have to understand that what you're doing. So for me, there were, multiple challenges. It was not only my age, it was also my gender. That those people, and as such, there are very less women in the forces even now. Um, so, I made it a point that I will take that initial, extra step to make them feel comfortable, to make them feel that I am approachable and they can come with their problems to me. Because for imagine, uh, the generational biases that we have, nobody will think that, she who is much younger to me can give me some really good tip or whatever, or she can guide me how to go. But then they have to do it. One is that they will listen to you because you are an officer. Second is they are convinced about what you're saying or asking them to do has some worth, is really what they need to do. So that was built over a period of time, whether I worked on ground with them, wherever they're, even starting from the tea breaks, and when they are going for a tea break, I'll go and stand with them. Why not? They are your people. They have they are not somebody out of the world. There is nobody stops you. At least even Forge gives you that leeway, that how you want to manage your people, the way you know take the team along. Because finally, whenever even the bigger exercise or anything happens, you are the person who's giving the instruction, and they are the people who are executing it. If there is a mismatch, you will never be able to achieve what you want to achieve. I cannot be only flying officer or squadron leader Sumedha. No, it is all the efforts that my team is putting. I am nothing without them. Because if they're not there, if they're not doing their job well, I will be found wanting, because there are different people required at different places. So for me, it was a journey to acknowledge it first of all, and then try to bridge that gap as much as I could, in whichever way, so that they come out, when they see me every day, they come out of this mindset that no, she's a girl, or she can really give us instructions, because they need to understand that I have learned my bit, and I really know the system. Of course, you've been doing the same work over years, but how what is a differentiator, right? And another tip I would say, whenever you're in whichever team, I never hesitated in asking them questions where I'm not sure, because I respected that you've been doing this work, and you are my person who is going to take care of this, and I'm putting my trust in you, and you have to tell me that how it goes. Maybe the new instructions which are coming, or the changes, we will discuss together and take it forward. I will give you that vision, but you have to execute it. But at the same time, it was very important to respect what each one of them is doing, because that is how you earn respect. So I would say it's a constant journey, not only in Forge, wherever you are, when you have to take people along. There are a lot of soft skills that you really need to look into.
Yeah, ma'am. I'll say it's tough being an officer. It's tougher being a female officer. And whether
I
you
don't
are
know
in,
that, but it's nice. It's an amazing experience.
yeah, whether you are in defense forces or whether you are in corporate. But when it comes to leadership, if you have a two-way communication, then it really makes your job simpler. So
Absolutely.
when talking about female officers in defense forces, first of all, we already have shortage of officers in all the three forces when we talk combined. And then we have a shortage of female officers also. One of the reason was that we did not have as many entries for them as we had for men. So now, since the government has done this initiative of allowing the young girls to join through NDA, how do you see this change, and how do you see young girls getting inspired to get into the forces because of this change?
One word: progressive. Right. I would say, see, we as a country, or not only us, the biases against women or the opportunities can be different in different countries and the cultures. So having that opportunity is the first step. What if you, even in Air Force, the lady officers started coming in 1992? What if government has not started that? We wouldn't have been experiencing it. If the option is not there, if the opportunity is not there. So I would say it's a very good step from the government side and people who are making those decisions, that having those the opportunities available, and then people grabbing it. Few years back, we didn't even have female fighter pilots in India, but that happened. It's a vision of some of the, we are progressing. we will never reach a stage where we have done it all. Otherwise, what will you do the next day? So there will always be something in pipeline. So I would say it's a wonderful opportunity, and there are more opportunities available for women now. So if they really feel connected to the cause and to the defense services, they should try, and they will have much more and the probability of getting into the defense is much more. And I'm
Exactly.
sure defense will also learn a lot along with these changes, because it's just one thing that you say, but the preparation that goes into making that possible, first getting that policy cleared on a government level, and then and then executing it. Then when you are executed, there will be challenges when you're actually executing it, and then taking those feedbacks, and then keep improvising it every time. So it's a long journey. So I would say, it's a really very progressive and a good thing which has happened. I was very happy.
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, because only if you provide a level playing field, you'll only come to know what potential women officers actually hold. So, ma'am, with this, now from this, we'll make a transition to your corporate journey. So you served as an officer in Indian Air Force for 10 glorious years, and then you made the transition to corporate world. So how did that happen?
So yeah, because I was short service commission, so I knew that by within 10 years I will be moving out, and I'm really glad and happy that I could, in the single lifetime, I could get the opportunity to see both the sides of life, right? So in last year of my service, defense has some tie-ups with the best institutes in the country, wherein they prepare you for the transition. So it's a 6 months residential course offered by places like IIM-Ahmedabad and IIM-Indore, Lucknow, or IFT,
Yes.
Delhi, and few more colleges. So IIM-Ahmedabad being the first, even this year the NIRF ranking is one. So even for officers, they have started conducting a separate CAT examination. So it is only for the defense people. Because the seats are limited, so who can make it, not on the basis of seniority or seat quota for Army, Air Force, or Navy. No, IIM Ahmedabad was the only one who was conducting those CAT exams. First, it at least prepares you, for what you are going, because and
Yes.
it makes you feel that you have earned it, right? You deserve to be there,
Yes.
and that is how it happened. So 6 months, it was a business management course on the campus, which helped me in that transition and understanding a bit of the jargons, and prepared me to enter a new world. And it takes some time, because even it, I mean, by the time I was my tenure was ending with the Air Force, it was almost a year back that I started preparing for the written exam first, and then then IIM happened. Then when you are on the campus, you learn what is the where is the industry going,
Right.
what is happening, where can you fit, how can you change, how can you relate your job with the outside world, how can you make the interviewer understand that what you've been doing and what you can bring to the table, because it won't be one-on-one match as it happens in and, when you switch jobs within the same industry. So I would say that that was another lifetime experience. I am Ahmedabad itself, and going through the campus placements. That's how UBS happened.
Yes,
UBS
ma'am.
was UBS already has a veteran hiring program, global veteran hiring program, but we were the lucky people, I would say. Ours was the first batch of veterans in India. So,
Okay.
so that that ways it was really a good experience, the campus placements, and how I chose UBS, because there were few other offers also I was holding, but whatever I felt more closer to my heart during the interview processes, and whatever I learned about those different companies, that's how I landed in UBS.
I say you have been the first person at many places. First SSB happened, you cracked it in first go, then UBS happened. So
Yeah.
that's really amazing. So now, coming with the background of defense for 10 years, you come to UBS as associate director. So how is the difference? How do you compare a corporate work life and life in defense forces?
Oh,
Any
there's no
similarity or
comparison.
difference you can draw?
Differences are a lot, to be honest. Starting from culture, there's no surrendering culture in corporate, especially the MNCs.
Yeah.
So And starting from that, there's a lot of difference the way we execute work and the way we approach, the way we handle people or teams as well. Because in defense, like there is a lot on disciplinary side, wherein the hierarchy is much more prominent in defense services, because that's a requirement of that organization. But in corporate, that's not so, because it's a different play game altogether, to be honest. But similarity, I would like to come to something which is integrity. That is one word, or it's just not a word.
Yeah.
We always say that is there is something called officer like qualities. There's a list of qualities listed that every officer should have, or inculcate or learn over their journey with the defense services. And so integrity is something which is kept at a very high stage in defense services, and we keep talking about a lot about it. Though I felt, though I haven't, it's only UBS where I've worked, in corporate, but I do speak to a lot of people. But though many organizations might not be speaking about it, in so and so terms, but that is the essence, because without integrity, your organization cannot grow. Maybe some of the organizations are really putting emphasis on it in different terms or words or the ways they are executing their stuff, or the policies or the culture they are building up. Some of them are not. But if that is the core of, I personally feel that's the core of any organization if you want to grow together and rise together. So that is something I would say, even if the corporate world and few of the organizations are not saying it out loud, but that is something which is taking them forward or making the difference with their within their competitions also.
Yes, ma'am, because there are certain things which are core to the organizations, because of which the organization cannot run as a whole. So definitely an integrity is being one of them. So ma'am, with UBS also, you are at a senior leadership position. And as you know, almost 1.5 years back, we were hit by pandemic corona. Even the new variant is coming now. So it's still not over yet. So this made the shift of work from office to work from home. So how has the leadership unit actually managed this whole transition? Because you must have also read online that people had mental health issues also. Sometimes they say work from home is not just work from home, it's 24/7 work. So that was taking a toll on people. So how did the leadership, or you as a leader, handle that part in your organization?
It was a journey for all of us, I would say, not only me, right? If on the positive side I look, it was a little bit, how I look at it is that it was a bit easier, because all of us were going through the same thing, together, not only in India, outside also. Little bit variance, little bit changes in the, little bit differences at where the lockdown is happening first, or who's getting affected or impacted, maybe somebody in your near and dear family or friends, or you are losing people. We all were going through it at the same time, maybe not in same intensity, but at the same time. So of course your juniors look up to you for questions, or for the uncertainties that were posed, how to work from home, how to enable working from home. It's not only your team, but the whole organization as a whole. UBS is a big organization with footprints in so many countries, and employees in so many countries. So how to bring that, even provide that technology. It was not only the people you had to take care of, you had to even at the same time redo your policies, as well as uh, enabling people to work from home efficiently, because you want to have we couldn't stop working, right? There were a lot of businesses got shut down because of the restrictions, because they could not perform, or there were a lot of things that they couldn't do. We all know about it. So I would say the good thing was, one thing, that we all were going together. Second, it happened in such a day and stage when the technology was actually at a place where it could make work from home, and it could enable it for whichever industry it was possible. it changed the way we it was a big paradigm shift, the way we work and the way we approach things or the way we look at things. People have performed so well also that the people are now questioning whether, is it really important for the IT people especially to be in office? How much difference does it make? There's no right or wrong answer as of yet, but it's still a journey that or things that we have to discover together. So as UBS, from the senior management itself, everybody acknowledged the fact that it's a different situation, it's a new situation. And even when we spoke to our senior managers, even if they didn't have answers, they said it very honestly that they don't have the answers, or they were ready to take the inputs to understand how we all can together work as team and bring out the best in people and the best in the situation in whichever way they could help. So that was, of course, it required extra bit of effort, time, talking on, when you're speaking on a floor, when you're in office, maybe you're addressing 5, 6 or more people at the same time, but now you have to make a time for everyone. Everybody has a different challenge they are facing. You have to understand. So even, in Maharashtra, there was a time, not on the onset of pandemic, but otherwise that the grocery shops are open only 10 to 4 p.m. and that is the working time. So if somebody has to go, so I had to, make that possible for my person, because if, the person will not be able to work if there is a list going on in his or her head that I have to do this, I don't have milk at home, I have to get it, the deliveries were stopped. There were a lot of challenges depending on where you are. So we did that for our teams. Just we told them that, not everyone should go at the same time. There should be somebody who's taking care of the work at that time. Let's communicate more. The communication had to increase a lot more, because on floor you see that the person has gone for a break, coffee break or something, but in virtual world you don't know. You just presume that the other person might take care of the stuff, but that interaction within the team had to happen. That was a major shift, that you have to, you should not feel that you're obliged to tell whether you're taking a break. You need to understand why you are telling this. Otherwise it's a pain, that you're telling every half an hour you're taking a break, or you're away from the system, you're telling someone that please cover up for me, but you need to understand that why that is important. So that thing is that's a continuous coaching and mentoring that happens along with your employees and the team, and all the initiatives that that are there uh, at a higher level. You all have to work as ambassadors in your own space and the team, where you can get that to the last person also, and to create an inclusive environment. So it's a learning, and we all learned together, I would say.
Exactly. The one good thing about work from home was you got the time with your family that people always crave for, especially when it comes to corporate professionals. And now most of them are too lazy to actually come to office back. So how do you see, as in, because most of the organization, for example, TCS has announced that by 2025, only 25% of workforce would be required in the office, because they actually can manage with that. So being at home, you're with your family, the comfort of home is there, but that socialization actually completely ends. You cannot ping everybody on the team just to talk. So for that element you need to come to office also. So how do you see the future will shape up in general? Are we going to have a hybrid model, where you can work from home for a few days and then a few days you can actually come to office?
I guess now that we have started coming back to the normal world, a bit of it, with some changes, but so we are discussing on these topics a lot, but there are no straight answers, or not not one answer which can fit all the organizations or all the occasions. I feel so when you read about communications, so the communication is only 7% verbal. So rest of it is 97%, 93% is non-verbal. So the way we connect, it has a big element. Maybe with few of the teammates, people who had known each other, worked together, because I had the opportunity to visit office for at least 7 to 8 months before the pandemic happened. So there was a connect. We knew that who's doing what, even from the from the tone of their voice, you can gauge that if there is a challenge or where are they coming from, though you will have to talk more about it and get to the bottom of the things, but it was a little easier. But people who are joining online and coming to a new team, it is more challenging how they will know what is exactly the culture of the team or the organization. So I personally feel that hybrid is the best model. First, if we look at from the organization's perspective, because there's a lot of physical infrastructure on which you can save, which can add to your profits, or save on your investments that you are doing.
Exactly.
So that ways it has to be a combination from both the sides. It has to come out as a win-win situation. We should not fall flat on taking one decision. Like I mentioned, that people performed really well, but then it can't continue forever, especially for people. If your team is new and everybody is joining online,
Exactly.
they will not, there's 10 people with the manager also new, they will be trying to get into the system, try to find out things, but not as quickly or as easily as it is possible in the office or in that space. So I'm a big fan of the hybrid work, but definitely each of the industry or the company will be deciding as per their own. Even there will be a lot of learnings, though the world is normalizing a bit after the vaccinations and everything, but there are new variants coming. There is still a lot of unknowns and uncertainties which everybody is trying to figure out.
Yeah. When you talked about people joining online, so I'll tell you one instance. So in my organization, I work for Infosys, there have been people who have joined during the pandemic. So they joined online and they've left online. So the only thing that we saw was their Microsoft Team icon, not even a picture. So that is how we actually remember them. So even that has happened. So ma'am, now moving on to our next section, since by coincidence even today is Saturday, and you are involved in a CSR activity called as Support Saturdays. So can you tell us what exactly is Support Saturday? How did it start? And what the whole concept is all about?
Really happy that as a founding ambassador. So it was a vision by our founder and co-founder, Mrs. Poonam Vijay and Mr. Vinod Arora. I've been connected on LinkedIn to a lot of people, and that's how even we got connected, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So they came up with everybody was during the pandemic, trying to understand what others are going through, and what are the challenges that people are facing. Luckily, many of us never had to face any financial challenges because our jobs were intact, but a lot of them were there where it was not. And if you see in last 2 years, advancements that have happened in technology and the initiatives and the connects that are happening, or the different apps or platforms which have come up, they were there also earlier also, but now people are using it more, and the acceleration growth is much more. So one thing, the vision of our founder and co-founder, what they thought that, how can we use LinkedIn for people, or this particular social media platform as well for the professionals. So this is a first in its kind of individual CSR activity, which is where we are not from one corporate or one world. We are people from all over the industry, even defense also. Uh, so who got connected. Uh, uh, the initial criteria was to have people on board who resonate and understand the idea, and also who have a little bit of reach, who have a good number of followers, so that we can reach out to more people. So what happened was, sometimes if you see, there are people who have just 200 or 300 connections, and reaching out to people is again a different, the information has to reach to the right person. So the idea behind the whole CSR is that we started with that, people who have lost their jobs in during pandemic, and it's not only job, maybe you are the sole bread earner in your family, so you are hit with a lot of other responsibilities and challenges as well. So we decided that we all will come together. We started with 25 people. I mean, founder, co-founder, plus 25 founding ambassadors, wherein people came together for this cause. That every Saturday we will spare some time to share the resumes of the people who have lost their jobs and who are looking for, right opportunities, and we will kind of promote that so that it can reach out to more people on this social platform. Um, so that was the idea, though we have evolved since the time we joined. It's been almost 1.5 years now. We started on a very good day, that was 15th of August. The basic idea was that's how we are starting. See, we can't promise anyone that we will get you a job, because first, starting for looking for a job till interview and making it, it's a journey in itself. Maybe you're
Exactly.
lacking in some skill, maybe you need to upskill, maybe there is something else, maybe you're not apt for that particular job.
Right.
So but because a lot of people got connected in last 1.5 years, now we are almost 75 people who are there for the cause. And we have also launched our website called supportsaturdays.com, wherein all the initiatives that are there under this banner are listed. So we have our mentoring Mondays, wherein we are telling people that we are getting the industry leaders, and because they have and achieved something in their lives, to share their experience with the larger audience, so that the people who have lost job or people who are really starting their career also can get benefited. There are specific another task that we run is on Tuesday job fair, wherein exactly the e- either it is from the ambassadors or the members of the support Saturdays, or it is from anyone who's looking for a job and wants to publicize their JD, right?
Right.
So we have got a format, so we get that, and a lot of people apply through. They have even the job opportunities which we are advertising, and people can get in touch with, or if they think that I am suitable candidate and I can apply for it.
Right.
So a lot of it is more on using the connections and the networking that we keep talking about in a positive way, and the way we all can make a difference. So that's the idea. And because I resonated the moment I was presented the idea, that this is to help people from the touch of
Yeah.
your phones, or just in your hands, and sitting in your own own comfort of your home, then why not? That is how I got uh, j- uh, attached with this, and this has been going on since almost 1.5 years.
In fact, this is one of the better examples of how you can use technology to a very good advantage. So, ma'am, I'll just stress one more thing on mentoring Mondays. So, is it like a grooming session for professionals so that I can learn from the people who are experienced in the industry? How exactly is
So,
that concept?
we have some tips, or some videos from the people, from the CEOs of the companies, and really leaders who have achieved that in their lives, whom we look up to, whom even if I try to reach them on LinkedIn or anywhere, they will
Right.
not have time to speak to me. No, not
Exactly.
everyone has, because they won't have that kind of bandwidth. So whatever their learnings are, or their tips is, we are trying to get it to the larger audience. Not it's for us as well. There's so much of learning when you are somebody who's so established, is speaking something and has a worth in it, and you learn from their experience. So that is
Right.
the whole idea behind it as of now. Maybe if it takes a different shape or form in the future, depending on what is the ask, how we can reach and benefit more people out of it, that's how we would like to go forward with the same.
Yeah, ma'am, I again say it's a wonderful initiative. In fact, as I'd mentioned earlier, also I see on your LinkedIn profile a lot of hashtag support Saturdays, and then you talked about there are mentoring Mondays also, and then there is an activity on Tuesday also. So, ma'am, with this, we are now moving to our almost the last segment. So it has already been wonderful talking to you, but so we have last 5 questions. So the first one is one advice that you would like to give to a young girl, especially who is looking to make a career in defense forces.
Whether in defense or anywhere, do not underestimate or undermine your own capabilities. You are much more what you think. So just try it out. It is just the first step, or the fear of unknown, or we think that we can't do it, but you definitely can. So I would say that that's been, not only for girls, for anyone. Sometimes we only underestimate our own capabilities, and we don't try that. This is not my cup of tea. So stop saying that to yourself. Prepare well for any challenge or anything that you're going for, and give it a shot at least.
The second one, your one key learning from Indian Air Force that you'll always remember.
Everything is uncertain. And but you will always it has given me or shaped me to face those uncertainties with a very with the mindset that it's okay, if even if whatever is coming, it's okay, things will go wrong, but how I can move forward from there and make it better is, it's the attitude you or the outlook, the way you look at things has changed completely for me.
Yes, ma'am. And the third one, who's your role model in life?
That's the most difficult one, because I don't have one role model, to be honest. I always try to pick up things from wherever, which I can resonate to. And I would say it's good to look up to people, and with, you really admire some personalities and want to inculcate the things, or try to understand that how they are doing or they achieved something, and I would also like to do that. But maybe that's not the whole package. Don't stop yourself just at that person, I would say. Try to learn from everywhere, and never restricted that from where you can learn. Maybe a reading, maybe an article, maybe a person who's much, much younger to you. Trust me, even kids make you learn so many things. When I spend time with my nieces and nephews, I have learned so many things from them as well about life. So don't feel that somebody who has just achieved something, very big, is the only person who can teach you. There are a lot of people who can just be open about it, and take that in, that you can learn from it anywhere. Your whole outlook, or the way you perceive things will change.
I think this is, in fact, a wonderful thought, because normally when we think about learning, looking up to people, we only look up to somebody who's more experienced than us, somebody who is of a higher status as, or has achieved something which we have not. But that's a wonderful thought, I'll say. So, ma'am, you talked about integrity being the core philosophy of, let's say, UBS. So, what is your core philosophy of life?
My core philosophy is very much, related to what I said, the uncertainties. I have learned till date that there will be challenges personally, professionally, everywhere. There will be few days when you feel low and you feel that whether you can come out of it or not. But my philosophy is that I want to, bounce back, and there has to be an anchor. And I really want to be better version of myself and accept it. Maybe some people will say you were not like this. Now you are different. It's okay. It's good that I'm different, because I'm learning something new. So my core philosophy is that come what may, bounce back. It's not end of the world. It might seem, when you are in a trouble, you see the whole world has stopped, and this is what is happening in your life, and you can't move forward from here. Everything wrong happens to me. We all get to those those lows in our life sometime or the other, but how quickly you can come out of it and not get into that wrong spiral is what is you need to understand what is your anchor, which can pull you out of that spiral. So that's my philosophy, that keep coming back, and there is still a lot more to explore.
Yes, ma'am. And with this, ma'am, we'll come to the last question. So, ma'am, you started your career with Indian Air Force, a prolific, a glorious career with Indian Air Force. Then, right now, associate director at UBS. You're also doing a lot of CSR activities. So, for you now, when you wake up every day, where do you want to take your life from here?
See, I guess all of us have some plans, some short term, some long term. To be honest, I really like to explore. Because I never thought that I can be where I can be in UBS. Even before I joined defense, I didn't know how um, it will turn out to be for me. Because I really feel when you come with, it's good to take inputs from people, from media, from people who have served already or whatever. But it don't get bogged down by that. don't see that, don't see life from their angle or their eyes only, because then you will not be able to realize that what is in it for you. How do you see it? Is it something that people are saying that it has to feel good, so you feel good about it, or is it really coming from your heart? So for me, and I'm really happy that even defense and UBS, no 2 days look similar. There's always something, you plan something, that this is, of course, you have a some outline in your head that this is the main things that I need to complete today, or this is the meeting, or this is what I have to take forward today. But something or the other will come which will make you reshuffle your priorities, or maybe some technical glitch will happen, or something will go wrong that you will have to change the things. So I would say that for me particularly, that unknown thing is more motivating for me, that I know it will not get monotonous. I know that there will be something, some new challenge, but how I, rather than, cribbing about it, or feeling sad about it, oh God, the things broke again, oh God, we had the same incident again, oh God, things went wrong today. No, but how can I make, because that gives you an opportunity to learn and improve on the things that, how can you involve or contribute that this doesn't happen again in the same way.
Right.
You will not know that what can go wrong. There are few things which you will know, but there will always be unknowns. So I would say I've been really lucky that even in UBS, even at Forge, no 2 days looked similar. So that is a motivation that there is going to something new which is going to happen. And besides that, like you also mentioned earlier, that especially in the pandemic, the lines between the personal and professional life have blurred a lot, because we are working from home. So motivating yourself and keeping some time for your own self, whether it is any activity, whether it is workout, whether it is meditation, whether it is watching TV or reading a book, or anything, anything that you feel connected to, how you take out time for that. Maybe one day you won't be able to, maybe if you are not able to work out for 3 hours a day, maybe you can start with small steps, at least 30 minutes or 40 minutes, whichever way. I'm just giving an example, but keep doing that, because your work is only not the thing. And especially you learn a lot when you interact with different people, and when you when you take on different activities, whether it is a workout or a game or reading a book or even listening to music or getting yourself back, because you cannot perform at the same level every day. Exactly. You have to strike a balance between that, how you keep yourself fit mentally, physically, emotionally to perform. Because if all those things are not in sync, there will be some lows, and you might not be able to perform the same. And it can't happen every day, but how you keep coming back is more important, I would say.
I think one key learning that I, personally took was that when you mentioned that you look at life from your angle. Yes, people will tell you do this and do that, no matter which organization you get into, but try to experience things from your perspective, because that's the thing that actually matters more. So ma'am, one last question I like ask additional. So did you get into any activities like painting or trying different things during the pandemic when you had work from home?
So when it started, of course, I was also like any one of you, that I was also exploring what to do on weekends, especially. So there was some work, but you can't do much about it. How much will you clean your house? How
Yes.
much will you stay? How much will you watch TV? So yes, I binged watched all the 12 seasons of Big Bang Theory. Why? Because it was a very light. It's a nice series and very light hearted. Even if you watch for that half an hour, you feel happy. Right. So I was finding those ways. Then I started signing up for a few of the courses that I keep doing on weekends. They were short courses, but then I thought that in my head, I knew that this is going to continue for some time. It is because the whole world is hit. It is not going to get over within few days. Then I started with something really substantial. I wanted to go. I started exploring. Then I signed up for another year-long course with IIM-Ahmedabad, which is a senior management program. It was a weekend. I used to have classes, but though every day there were some studies or preparation that I had to do, or some assignments every day, at least an hour or so, that I had to put in for almost those 14 months across that. Along with that, I made my LinkedIn profile. I was not on LinkedIn before that. And I started looking forward to, what are the other opportunities. So whether it is connecting with you or with other, I really got connected with a lot of NGOs and colleges and people like you to reach out more people either on YouTube or Instagram, which has been a good learning for me as well. So, and though some of the series I do watch, I did watch after Big Bang Theory also, but after that one series, I give it a halt. That
Yes,
no,
sir.
now let's try something else.
Right.
And even another thing which I picked up is meditation. I was never able to do. I was not able to close my eyes and keep my mind, shut, or keep my eyes closed for more than a minute. But now I can do it. So it definitely brings some balance in your life, because that was something I was trying to do from a long time. Maybe we said we are not finding time or whatever. Then I thought I started with those 40 minutes that I'm saving on travel, and maybe some 20-30 minutes on getting ready in the morning. Let I have to see where am I putting that constructively, rather than just lying on bed or binge watching.
Yes.
So that is how I took it forward.
I'll say you have so many experiences and so many, I would say, incidents to share that even one day wouldn't be enough to actually complete this interview. So, ma'am, with this, we come to the end of this interview, and I'll say, thank you so much for first of all taking out time, being on exactly at 12:30. I remember when I, started the call, you were there, and being so enthusiastic throughout the interview. You have a wonderful personality, and it was really amazing, talking to you. And especially for myself, one thing that I have key learning is that you always look up to uncertainty as a challenge and not as as problem. Okay, if it's something new, I'll try to solve it. So that's key learning that I'll take with me. And there are a lot of learnings, there are a lot of people who are going to actually watch this, will definitely take from me. So I'll once again say, ma'am, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gaurav, for having me over. I completely enjoyed this talk. Thank you. God bless.